So you got your first acoustic electric guitar, or maybe you've had it for a while and you've just always played it acoustic, but you're like, hey, I could plug it in, why not? But you don't have an acoustic electric amp, but you have other amps, and you're wondering, can I just plug that into my electric guitar amp? Or do I have to buy an amp specifically designed for an acoustic guitar? In this video, we're going to talk about everything you need to know about plugging your electric guitar in, and listen to how it sounds. So the short answer is yes, you can plug in your acoustic electric guitar into a tube amplifier designed for an electric guitar or a bass amplifier, but you probably don't want to. You're probably wondering, well, is there a risk of damaging it? No, there's no risk of damaging it. The only possible thing I can think of is an acoustic guitar produces a lot more low end than an electric guitar, so there is that chance if you are having a very high wattage amp running through a low wattage speaker and you're adding all that low end, yeah, you could maybe put extra wear on the speaker, but really there's no actual risk of any damage. Now, would you actually want to do this? Well, I did an experiment for you so that you can hear for yourself, but I would say there's a reason why there's specific amps designed for an acoustic electric guitar. First being, acoustic electric guitars have a lot wider frequency range. Like I was saying earlier, they get a lot lower, and they also can get a little higher too. They're more full spectrum versus a more narrow mid-range sound that an electric guitar produces. And the amps that are designed for electric guitar are more mid-focused amplifiers. That's the same as with why you probably wouldn't want to use an electric guitar for a bass, because it's just different frequencies, and there's a reason why there's different amps. Now, there are some things you can do. Most acoustic electrics have tone knobs on there as well as volume. First thing being the volume, you want to be careful with the volume because you can almost think of it as like an active guitar, you having an active pickup in your electric guitar. It's going to be able to send a lot higher output than a typical passive pickup in an electric guitar. So be careful with where you set the volume. And if you have bass and treble knobs, lower the bass a lot so that it's not making the speaker work super hard and making it sound muddy and boomy. And then also there is a decent amount of extra treble as well to get that kind of string noise. That can be turned down on the guitar to create a more mid-focused sound that an electric guitar is designed to handle. Similar to a semi-hollow electric guitar, you probably notice you have to worry about feedback a lot more than a solid body. Well, an acoustic electric is going to amplify that times 10. Not exactly, but you get what I'm saying. So you're going to have to really worry about where you're standing, how close you are to the amp, and how much signal you're sending. That is going to cause a electric guitar tube amplifier to feedback like crazy. So I already mentioned that more low end, so why not pair it with a bass cab, right? Those are designed to handle low end. So let's hear how that sounds. sounds a little bit better to me. It still doesn't sound natural. It still sounds muddy to me. I do think it's an improvement, but maybe having just a bass amp going through a bass cab will sound better. I do feel like the solid state nature of the bass amp does suit the acoustic electric better, and it also provides a fuller frequency because it's designed to handle a larger frequency spectrum. So I would say that's the best, but what about taking that amp and then running it through a guitar cab? Now, I think that sounded better than the guitar going through the guitar cab, but I would still say the bass amp going through the bass cab is the best sound out of all of these. And I think the main reason why is it's as close to a more neutral sound. Now, ideally, what would sound better than all of these, if you don't want to buy an acoustic electric amp, but you have a PA system, now that is what is going to sound the closest to an acoustic electric amplifier. A lot of acoustic electric amplifiers actually have microphone inputs built in because they are very similar to just a regular PA system. They are trying to be as neutral as possible and just send the signal like a PA system would, where it's not boosting or cutting any frequencies. It's not trying to create a tone. It's just trying to amplify what's the signal that it's being provided. So a bass amp is probably the closest you're going to get to a PA system because it is flatter than a guitar amp. A lot of times there's less character, they're more neutral. But with that being said, it still is designed for a bass, whereas a PA system is designed to accept all types of signal. Now, I'm sure if you plugged electric guitar in before, you will notice it does not sound good, and that's because an electric guitar is designed to have its sound created afterwards through the amplifier, right? If you ever plugged an electric guitar directly into your interface or anything and tried to record that way, it needs some tone shaping. It needs the amplifier to create the sound and then the speaker to narrow those frequencies into the more mid-range frequency that it's designed for. Then you can either mic that up or run a direct box afterwards and plug that into a PA system. But a acoustic guitar is designed to go direct into a PA. Now you might want to use a DI box to avoid noise, especially if you're running long cables. But that is the ideal situation if you don't have an acoustic electric amplifier. Just go direct in the PA, forget the electric guitar amp. Unless you just want to have some experiment, hey, sound is subjective, so if you like the way it sounds, go for it. Maybe you could even do heavy metal with an acoustic electric. Maybe not. Well, I'll leave that up to you to decide. But I hope this was at least interesting, even though maybe it didn't sound the greatest. If it was, please consider subscribing, and I hope to see you in the next one.